Hey everybody, this is WCPO's Mike Dyer. Welcome to a special edition of the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. With high school sports still postponed due to the coronavirus outbreak, I thought we would look ahead to the upcoming NFL draft and a lot of news surrounding that. And it looks like it's going to be a virtual draft come April 23rd. The Bengals with the number one draft pick overall. Who better to talk to than former Moeller head coach Doug Rosfeld, who is now the Bengals director of coaching operations. And always a special guest here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. And Doug, thanks for taking a few minutes. And how are you doing today? And how is your family doing during this quarantine time?
We're doing well. We're doing very well. We've got 6 little ones running around. So Abby and I we're pretty busy. It gets a little crowded here at times with the 6 kids and 2 dogs. But all in all, we're doing very well. We're very blessed. They're healthy. They're happy. They're doing fine. How about you? How's your family?
We're doing well. Yeah. As long as I can remember to hit the record button on special podcast episodes, I'll be okay, Doug. Little inside joke there.
Which is good to see you again.
Exactly. Well, hey, obviously a ton of anticipation about the NFL draft here coming up April 23rd. Bengals with the number one draft pick, and a lot of news around all professional sports leagues and organizations about the impact of this coronavirus outbreak. It's going to be basically a virtual draft for the NFL coming up. And I'm just curious how that's affected and impacted the Bengals organization and just how the preparations are going for the team right now.
Well, it was a fluid situation for a while. I think people were trying to figure out exactly how to make it a fair and equitable playing field for all the clubs to be able to conduct the draft. So there were a lot of memos that were coming out for quite a while, a lot of revisions and changes to plans in place. I think we've pretty much got our feet under us now. I think we've got a good plan for it. It'll be the safest and cleanest way possible to make sure that we can do this draft in a unique but effective way. It sounds like before all this, it was going to be in Las Vegas, and it was going to be probably the most unique draft in NFL history. And I'm certain that it will be now. This will be a unique setting, full of challenges, but the NFL has done a phenomenal job working with the clubs. Our management, our ownership have been great in communication, letting the coaches know what's going to take place. So it's been fluid. We're starting to get a good plan, but yeah, I think it's going to be primarily virtual from a distance and very unique.
Kind of harkens back to, I know a lot of people are equating this to like a fantasy draft, which obviously it's nothing further from the truth because of so much at stake for all these organizations and the league itself, but kind of harkens back to an old school time frame too, maybe with war rooms and stuff, just kind of on a virtual basis. But has that really impacted the way that the coaches are approaching this in terms of watching film or doing interviews with possible draft picks? I mean, how does that all work out?
It's been, man, this is just my first year in the NFL, so I was learning completely different than the year before, because we typically would be bringing in a lot of our draft prospects. Free agency that has been so exciting in the last couple of weeks for us, and now preparing for the draft. A lot of those entailed visits to our facility and really getting to have an in-depth opportunities to talk and get to know the people. Well, that changed quite a bit. So we've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings. Our position coaches are allowed to meet with our draft prospects a few times a week, as long as they document everything and send it off to the league. And it's been great because they have gotten had new chances to meet, new ways of talking. So you may not get that personal, in-depth, sitting across the room from a person, but you do get a chance to understand them a little bit more as learners, as athletes, what motivates them, what their outlook is, and kind of run through their knowledge of the game and how it applies to us. So a lot of changes, a lot of fluid movement on structure and how it works. Definitely impacted our preparation, but we've been pretty confident with how we've been going about our process, and we feel good going in.
What's your role on draft night? I'm just curious.
Pretty much in anything, it's in support of the head coach and the coaching staff. So give advice when it's needed or asked for. Otherwise, be a great listener. Be in large part taking great notes. Be able to draw on previous notes, so have a really good understanding of what our coaches, our head coach and his staff, what their thoughts were from before, in case they're pertinent or relevant at the moment. So in all ways, really being a support to the coaches and ownership.
Obviously, it became official news today about the 8 unrestricted free agents that the Bengals signed. And how excited are you to bring those guys in and get started?
Very excited. Yeah, it was a great process to be part of. I think one of the best parts about it is how excited the guys are. So we've got great ball players coming in, and to add to a great roster now, we're ready to rock and roll. I think we have high goals and high standards, and I think these players coming in kind of feel that we're on the edge of achieving something great, and they want to be part of it. So that kind of excitement and enfranchisement it's been exciting.
What did you learn the most from this past season? I'm just curious.
Probably the importance on continuing to learn. I think there was in the last several years, I've gone, from a high school offensive line coach to director of player development for Tommy Tuberville, then change over and work with Coach Fickle, then on to Moeller as a head coach, now here at the Bengals. It feels like it's been like a doctoral program. The last 5 years, the learning curve has been so steep. So being comfortable studying late at night, being comfortable to, sit in meetings and not be afraid to ask the right question at the right time. And then also the importance on precision work, as opposed to, like at Moeller, we're trying to teach these young guys how the importance of hard work, that you can really outmuscle a lot of problems in a lot of ways. But in our line of work now here at the Bengals in the NFL, precision is probably the most important thing, like doing it right the first time perfectly, exactly how it's supposed to be done. So it's more about efficiency and precision than it is volume. So those would be the two big ones, learning and precision. And that's taken a lot of growth to still be able to do it.
Can you take me through maybe an example of last season of just, weren't a couple of those duties that, you really needed to step into play a big role for Coach Taylor and just the coaching staff in general?
Well, making sure that everything that we say from one week to the next carries over. So our messaging needs to be consistent throughout. Like it's only with great cause that we would kind of change our vantage point or messaging, like providing that kind of consistency and schedule. And then doing it for a really long period of time. I think that's a thing that people don't necessarily get a hold of or grasp in the NFL is the length of the season. So we were like last year, for instance, in the summer, we had some really wild weather patterns that were affecting our training camp. The year before, the fall football season, when I was at Moeller, I think we had 7 games either delayed or cut short because of rain. Well, this past year it was training camp. So we made a really good weather plan and how we were going to be the most efficient, get everything done that needed to be done the right way in preparation for an opponent had happened. Well, then we didn't have weather issues for a long time. And then right there toward the end of the season in December, we started getting some crazy wind and a little bit of funky weather. And we were able to draw on stuff from that many months before and execute it and really play some great football at the end of December. So being attuned, forming plans and hitting those details when you need it, but then being attuned to it as the season goes on. So that way, you're not throwing away points or working uphill against yourself. We try to be as precise as possible.
What was kind of the vibe maybe this offseason, this winter, just among the coaches, the players still there about, taking this opportunity for this upcoming 2020 season and really embracing it and starting the schedule and the slate all fresh from square one?
I think we were urgent to get going again. Like the Senior Bowl gave us a great chance to get out there and get to work right away. So that was good. I mean, we needed hard work. We needed to get after it. I think we felt like we were on an upward trend. If we had a few more weeks in the season, we would have liked who we were 3 more weeks down the road. So we were urgent to get back to work, optimistic and excited about changes that were coming our way. The Senior Bowl and the Combine, those are 2 really good momentum builders for us as a staff. We felt like we were growing and putting the pieces in the right place. And then, so when we hit free agency, everyone was really excited and optimistic, and it paid off. I think we're in a really good spot in terms of our staff working together, collaborating from a distance. I think there's good synergy going on in the staff and the organization ready to move forward in the draft.
Can you take me through maybe a typical day now? Obviously, this coronavirus outbreak has impacted everybody, whether it be family or professional life. But what's like a typical day for you leading up to the draft?
A lot of Zoom meetings. We or whatever. We use a few different things, but a lot of meetings here to collaborate. So the tone of the day kind of gets set by the head coach. there's multiple meetings taking place throughout the day. He never stops. So there's NFL conference calls. He's with personnel, ownership, operations, the staff, and then a lot of spin-off or one-off meetings start taking place then too. So, say the coaches are working on protection or pressures, then those coaches that are responsible for those areas will spend a little bit more time during the day. A lot of presenting to each other and a lot of collaboration taking place right now. And that all going on while draft preparation is going on. So those coaches are spending the mornings typically working together, sometimes breaking out in the afternoon, but then also scheduling calls with prospects so that they can communicate with them, get to know them a little bit more, and put together a good plan.
What's kind of the vibe that you get when you do these interviews with some of these prospects and just how they're dealing with this, how they're working out? I'm just kind of curious what that's like right now. It's such a unique time.
Well, you could see these guys growing and learning as well too. I mean, there was such a jarring change, and you find fast adapters, people that can figure it out pretty quick, and people that they're still kind of figuring it out. But the one thing you see a lot with with football players at this high level is how intrinsically motivated they are. Typically they don't need a catalyst for work. They just need when they're ready to work, they just need a little bit of assistance in organizing the logistics. And that's probably the most impressive thing. You see these names on the TV or in big college prospects in the NFL, superstar athletes. But really, what hits you the most about them is their abilities are one thing, but their intrinsic motivation, the way that they just get themselves going is phenomenal. And so to be kind of on the fly and support them any way they need it, that's the most important thing.
I remember your energy was so apparent, obviously, there at Moeller when I covered you for that GCL South championship season. And take me through just, how much you've enjoyed this position, how much you've fed off that energy. And you mentioned all just the precision to details, but also the fast-paced nature of this job. I mean, what's that all been like for you?
A bit of a whirlwind, truthfully, but an exciting one. I think at a young age, I felt like my parents helped instill like a lifelong learning. I think that's been the biggest thing is I've never been too scared to continue to learn. And that's been necessary in this job because there's so many aspects, so many things that are new. And it can be frustrating to not have it all figured out at the moment. But then at the same time, I look back on the stuff that I knew 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 3 years ago. And there's just such a growth. Now, I don't remember all of my world history lessons. As a history teacher of 12 years, I can't necessarily tell you as much about the French Revolution, but
we'll forgive you on that one, Doug.
Yeah. Well, it would have been useful to have it now that my son is a freshman in high school, and I have an 8th grader, and they're enrolled in Coach Rosfeld's virtual high school now. They're entering the transfer portal, I think, later this afternoon to go to mom's school. Nice. But no, it's been a lot of learning, different environments, different levels of football. They're really different industries. But it's been great to find that like the things that my coaches, my mentors have instilled in me, that I felt worked as a player and then a coach and then a head coach and now as a part of the NFL program, they still hold true. And seeing that kind of stand the test of time and growing up with those things I've held for a long time, that's been fun.
Obviously, you're director of player development there at UC from 2015 to 2017. I mean, how unique is it to have all three levels of experience there, with whether it be high school and college and now at the pro level? How much pride do you take in that within the city of Cincinnati and in all of its football levels?
Well, and I coached my son in middle school, so I've got all 4 levels it would be. But a big part of this job is doing it on behalf of an organization and a city that you grew up in and you love. I mean, high school football is near and dear to my heart. I love everything about it. My time with the University of Cincinnati, now coaching Cincinnati Bengals, really be at the heart of football here for our city. It means a lot to me. In a lot of ways, it's been a chance to serve and give back. It makes the losses hurt quite a bit more because you know that how many people are pulling for you. But I think we're heading toward great times, and I'm excited for it to be part of something that means so much to the city and the town I grew up in. To kind of make those jumps now to be here with the Bengals, it's quite a overwhelming honor and blessing.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about this great opportunity for the Bengals. Number 1 draft pick I'm just curious how many times family and friends have texted or called you or hit you up on social media trying to get a scoop of what direction the team's going to go in.
So many people do, but it's not bad. I mean, it's usually out of excitement. I mean, there was we didn't achieve what we wanted to last year, and it didn't meet our expectations, as we have much higher standards for ourselves than what we achieved. So to have people coming up with a little glimmer of hope and excitement and some enthusiasm about the future, it doesn't matter what they're asking. You know, if they're just excited, they want to know what tomorrow holds, and I'm a forward-thinking guy, so usually I say, well, I can't tell you if I had an answer. It's above my pay grade by quite a bit, but I'll tell you, we really appreciate you being interested, and thank you for asking. But
obviously,
that's all I got.
I was going to say, I'm not even going to try, Doug. I'm just going to I'll fold it up on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll leave you with this: faith, family, and football. The motto that you live by, you continue to live by, so central to your theme of coaching there at Moeller. And I know you've been playing some games there with your kids and trying to keep them occupied while they do this remote learning. Just how important is that balance, not only the sport that you love, but the family that is so near and dear to your heart, your wife Abby and your 6 children as well?
Football has been, for me and our family, so good to us, and my faith and my family have grown through my time and a lot of lessons I learned with football. And it's been very difficult being a part of a football team where you don't get to be around your guys and be around the other coaches. And football is like the perfect expression of a team, in my opinion. And the lessons that we learn or hold from football seem like now in this climate, in this situation that we're in, are more important than ever. So we've been talking in our house between games and studying and prayer and a lot of meals around the table together, how we can take the things that we hold in as a faith family and football family and find a new team in our neighborhood. And what can we do to serve? What can we do to help? And how can we be a team for those others? So I hope, amidst all this, we find a way to look at people around us as our team, and with things like faith, family, and football, maybe they're more important than ever before.
Have you put your mind around just all of this? I mean, I know there's so much going on right now, not only in our country and in the world, but just how you've kept maybe people close to you, inspired and uplifted during this time, because everybody needs some encouraging words right now.
Yeah, there's no simple response to that question, because as individuals, we've got our work to do. The two of us are here doing our work, but we've got little ones that count on us, and families that need us, and communities that could really use our help. And it's a unique challenge that we're in. I think probably how I've responded in the past is maybe different than how I've been responding now. I've learned so much from this organization of the importance of family and the importance of treating people that you work with and work for well. And so in our little lives, our little scope, this is big, bad thing going on throughout all over the world, but there's Shade Tree and Timber Knoll and Kennedy Lane are about the scope of what we can control. And so Abby and I work really hard to make sure that our little ones go to sleep with an easy mind, knowing that they're loved and they're safe. And then we're trying to do everything we can for our little small portion of the world. And that's about all we can do. We just try to do it as well as we can.
I wrote a story about you and your family 2 years ago. I looked it up. You're getting 12 gallons of milk delivered each. What is it up to now, Doug? Let's be honest.
Well, it's even more now. They're all here. They don't go anywhere. We're not allowed to send them to family's house anymore. No, we have a big, healthy family, and they like to run. And we're going through dog food. We've got 2 dogs, so it's a big bill. A big family though. They've got. Gosh, we're blessed. I mean, I know I worry the most. Kind of going back to the last question, I worry the most for people alone during this time. That's what I worry the most about, and whether that's age or circumstance or whatever it is, I worry the most about people that don't have family right there with them to love them and tell them that they're with them. So it's certainly not my place to complain about the fact that my son got into paint supplies and painted all of his toys with bright blue paint to make them look like an action figure from the Cars movie, and I had to clean it all up. I'm not going to complain about that, but No, we're blessed and fortunate, and prayers and thoughts going out to those who aren't so blessed.
I know one of your son's rooms there, and great poster there just to your right. Love to see that again.
Yeah.
How many movies have you been watching with your family?
Oh, well, we've seen Turner and Hooch, League of Their Own. What About Bob? I mean, we're sticking with the classics. And for all you know, I'm in my home office, but if it's either kids' room or office, you got to have a Sandlin poster.
Of course, all good stuff.
So we've been watching the classics. What about you? What have you been doing?
Oh man, you know what? We're just trying to get the kids outside. I tell you what, it's playing as many games. You know, got a basketball hoop, and that does wonders. T-ball, wiffle ball. You know, get out, whatever. Water toys. It doesn't matter. Just my wife's a saint, though. She's really done a great job.
Let's get you on film. Throwing.
I know. I got a couple lefties. Maybe some left-handed pitchers in the future, which would be nice for mom and dad later on in life.
That'd be great.
Bengals Director of Coaching Operations, Doug Rosfeld. Always appreciate the time and the conversation, and best of luck to you and to your family.
Mike, thanks so much. All my best wishes to you and your family, man. Take care.
Thank you, Doug. Well, some great insight from Bengals Director of Coaching Operations, Doug Rosfeld. I always enjoyed his time and perspective as the Moeller head coach, and you can see he's made the transition quite well to the NFL. Definitely want to check out my story on WCPO.com about Roger Bacon Sr., Jake Mumper, who was a Division III state wrestling qualifier. Obviously, the remaining winter sports tournaments were canceled due to the coronavirus outbreak, but Jake has a unique story. He is tied for valedictorian honors with a 4.0 GPA, and now he just wants an opportunity to see his classmates and friends one more time this spring. I'll also have some local college football recruiting news from one of our local high school football standouts who announced his commitment on Wednesday afternoon. Thanks again for listening. Be sure to check us out next week on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast.